All right, Parvathy,
Sundarji,
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Of course, we have to be always doing well. That's all about the topic today too. No, we decided that we will have a discussion on mantra. You had to send me a, a part of a mantra. Actually, it is a part of a little larger mantra, as I recall. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
But it is of a different uh, genre, a different type of mantra.
Okay.
Definitely, we will not be uttering that mantra now. You know, and I know. I don't know. I can see it in the mobile. You have sent a copy. Where did you get this?
Yes. Pardon?
Where did you get this?
Sorry, I didn't.
Where did you get this mantra from?
You had given this to me when I was saying 11th standard or something. You had written that for me, and yesterday I was, finding out some old stuffs, and I got this book of mine, and I found it.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Okay.
That is your handwriting.
All right. Okay. Okay. Anyway, to talk about that mantra, which is not that critically important for the focus of our discussion, uh, a bit of information about that mantra. That's a mantra practiced by a certain category of people who mostly lived in the forest region, particularly farmers and other rural folks who had their own deity, uh, which was their interpretation of Parvati.
Okay.
Or which was somewhat closer to a mixture of Parvati and Kali, and perhaps influenced by some traveling saints' instructions about Tripura Sundari also.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever deity that is mentioned in that is uh, is a translation uh, created by some genius of that area, or some visiting sage who had that magnanimity to understand the type of perception and sensitivity of that so-called tribal original minds. So he created an image, and he created a sound structure suitable to their language of that time. Get the point? So uh, similarly, when we change the angle of observation to our level of awareness and knowledge and claimed intelligences about all these things, it is basically a mantra of Tripura Sundari or Parvati, I mean of Shiva, very Shiva, Parvati, uh, propitiating her or trying to connect with her. That
Mm-hmm.
was that mantra. So, yeah, that is that mantra about. So, what was your question? It is about that mantra. About that mantra,
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah.
I was just I used to practice that mantra for quite some time, and then I had stopped. Then suddenly I reconnected with it, and I thought I would talk to you on that.
All right. Okay. So, yeah. Meanwhile, you can also recollect whatever you have listened to in an earlier video of mine involving a dialogue with Meenakshi. So that was the japa part of it. Now, in that we did not discuss about the second orbit, the second spoke of the wheel of the total phenomenon named mantra. That second spoke is the visual involved, which is in a way more critical in the sense that In the japa, only that knowing of the script of the mantra is there, plus a little bit of background of the script. All right. But in visual, therefore, the area consumed, the area taken for that much of recording into cerebral cortex is relatively limited compared to visualization. Visualization, visual is the so-called visual cortex in the backside of the brain, which is also called the occipital lobe, OCCIPTAL lobe, which is very special in the sense that it is an area, if you say, an area which is entirely dedicated to the signal processing of the visual sensation. So which is much larger. That entire area, I think maybe, I suppose the largest area dedicated to a single function. Yeah. There is the amygdala complex and the other corpus callosum, that means connective fibers between the right and left hemisphere. Then the amygdala complex, it is called a beautiful structure within that. They are all there, but I think they are less smaller in size compared to the occipital lobe, which is almost covering at least 70% of the backside of the brain. So what I am inviting your attention to is the second part of the mantra is visualization or visual, or actually seeing with your inner eye, or rather with your visual cortex, your own possible definition of the visual, a three-dimensional visual, not a two-dimensional picture, which is normally done by most people or kept in front. But if you have an image, if you have a sculptured form of a deity in front of you, which is three-dimensional, so you should have a three-dimensional image of the deity. Deity meaning the focused entity. In this context, Kali or Tripura Sundari or Durga, or it's also called Vanadurga. And these are all different names practiced in different locations. Unlike in other traditions in the world, the genius of the so-called Bharata tradition is that the central concept, the invariant, has been lavishly or let us say extravagantly reinterpreted to suit the perception, sensitivity and analytical experience of the people of a given time, space, location. So whatever is Vanadurga in one place is Kali in some other place, and Mariamman in some other place. Oh, I don't know what all names. Vanadurga is there, Durga is there, which is of a little beyond the rural area, if you can imagine, little bit of a place where the owners of the farmlands were there. For them it was Durga.
Oh.
So what I mean to say that, so they understood the principle. The invariant principle is the knowing and the doing, so that the being evolves. In a way, that is more or less comparable to what Jesus said. If you have that mustard seed of belief, that believing is the consequence, is the result of your incubation or focus of attention. For that ancient African tribe, it was the totem pole carried by the king. That was the representation of God for them, and it worked. Okay. Later, people are all trying to, with some influence of some armchair philosophers, some super god, single god, other than all these things, so that they can control much more larger population. Any piece of stone in front of your house, you can have all the freedom to look at it as a piece of deity. All right. So that's a little away from our main topic. So the topic is clear. So the second spoke of the total methodology or strategy of mantra is visualization. So that particular mantra which you refer to is more on visualization. It has the visualization element. It is almost 90% in the visualization, whereas some other mantra which you already know, they are purely on the japa part only. That mantra does not have a visualization of its own.
Oh, that may be the reason. Whenever I used to chant that, I could feel some animal is jumping, moving. I don't know what. Maybe the singer voice in that was creating that element. I don't know.
Now you are
I could
referring to.
always feel that.
You are referring to this particular mantra.
Yes.
That is the originality of your system. Uh, because you did mostly as a little girl of that time, and whatever experience you gathered at that time got continuity subsequently also. Animal is your translation, that means a form, a form, which sort of jumped from one side to the other.
Yes,
Alright?
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I used to
Yeah.
feel when
That's okay. That the entity of that animal and the entity of the Vanadurga or Kali is not basically very different. One is in a human form and the other is in a so-called animal form, that's all. So, you had that animal form. Somebody who had a similar experience, he would have created some representation of that animal and might have placed it in a space and worshipped that. Okay? In ancient Greece and other parts of ancient Italy, there were temples dedicated to some animal forms actually. You can see that animal. Unique animal structures. I have the pictures, you might have also seen that pictures. Okay? So unique goat-like animal, for example. And then animal with a human herd and
Human
things
body
also.
and animal face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are many such things. Even in India also, there is a temple for dog in some part of Tamil Nadu, and
Okay.
then there are temples for peacock, and of course elephant, and so on. So, in your case, not being suggested with any visual at that point of time, because you were a very young girl at that time, therefore I just told you only this part. So now, perhaps at an appropriate time, you are asking about the same thing, for no reason apparently, and so you can have your visual of Parvati. And the words in that mantra could be the dialect of that particular tribe only. That I am not sure what it referred to. Maybe some historian of ancient language. It is definitely Tamil only. And Tamil is one of the ancient-most languages in the world, for your information. Okay? So it is definitely that old Tamil only. But the concept of Shiva and Parvati is there. Parvati also has that Parvatam, the one who is resident in the abode of a huge mountain. Is actually the meaning of the word Parvati, which is represented by the term here Marumala Vasini. And there is also the name also is mentioned there, Gauri. Gauri is another synonym for Parvati. And Vashyam, that means I want to influence you, I want to please you, I want you to be my friend. So even if you are an embodiment of the Brahma, even if you are an embodiment of the enlightened spirit, you can have a being in this form of this on this planet Earth, we can definitely seek and search for the company of an equivalent. Or a so-called, equivalent. I don't think there is any potential difference between you and you Parvati and the other Parvati. She may have much more experiences than you, alright? May have little, maybe older than you. And therefore might have encountered many entities. Okay, great. So that is accepted and appreciated and respected and okay, glorified, yes, okay. But that does not mean that there is any potential difference. The electric current that runs in a small bulb in front of you and the current that runs in a huge motor that lifts 1,000 ton, both are currents only.
That way I'm easy to reach than the other Parvati. You just have to call me and I'll be there.
So we have that chiku fruit here.
Okay.
So Amaya got it what you call mixed with milk.
Okay, milkshake.
Yeah, exactly, milkshake. Which is very soothing to the throat in this dry season. So first element is the japa part, the knowing part, which also involves a doing, or rather the the mantra part. Second is the visual part, and what is the third part? What could be the third spoke of the wheel?
The being.
Okay, part of the being. It's all for the being only, all for the evolution of the being into its Purnat Purna Udachadi.
Experiences.
Experience part of it. Experiencing both, yeah. Then only it will be covering the entire territory of the being, you know.
Yeah.
So in all these things, there are implications for the autonomic nervous system, which I have explained a little in detail in the other video on the dynamics of mantra japa. Okay. Here there is equally impulses flowing down through the autonomic nervous system. That's why when you see a marvelous sight, your entire body gets goose flesh, you know. You see that and the goose flesh, right? Alright, but when you hear something also you can have goose flesh, which is the evidence of the involvement of the autonomic nervous system. Did you, by the way, look into the diagram of the autonomic nervous system? You must thoroughly understand the autonomic nervous system. Okay?
Yep.
So that is the overall experiencing part, which may require some of the, which may necessitate some setting variables. That means you cannot do this sitting in an aerodrome or in a railway station or in a visiting room. So the variables or the energy field of the planet Earth should contribute an appropriate setting. You know, setting is the process, we told you, know. The stove, on top of that should be the kettle. A completely lit stove, but kettle placed just little away, cooking will not happen. So that is an example of the, to get you a feel of the critical role of setting also. That's why the ancient rishis had to create their own parnasala or little abode in the idyllic location of the mountainous forest. Because the system is very sensitive. You may be able to focus completely on a topic of your reading sitting in a busy railway station. But that's only to develop some knowing. But the body is doing a lot of defensive work, to prevent other signals from entering the system, you know. So you have to select a certain direction, a certain ambience with a relatively less intruding variables created by human beings like furniture and other elements. It should be very natural, like a Zen garden. The Zen masters understood clearly. So it should be, even if it is set, it should have a, it should be like we talk about if the nature cooks a cup of tea, how it will be. Similarly, if the nature arranges a setting for you, how it should be. That you can get a feel and do it also. So the role of setting, like you use the example of that famous shot in the film Titanic, the hero and heroine in that classic shot of standing on the tip of the ship. They can do all of that expressions and behaviors and actions standing anywhere. But standing on that particular part makes it complete in the context of the film. Similarly, in the context of, because Maridamala Vasini is not in the city apartment. So then naturally the experience, then only the cooking of the tea of the mantra will happen, of a given mantra will happen. Okay. Otherwise it is like cooking a cup of tea in Alaska. So when in completely negative temperature and heavy wind, how will you cook? You have the stove, you have everything, but cooking will not happen because there is continuous wind and a terrible temperature outside. So it will take a lot of unnecessary time, and by that time the water may get evaporated. Okay. For example, to metaphorically talk about it. And in that process only, that which is out of your body, which is located outside your body, will become aware of the totality of the you doing all that thing. See, the entire you is actually reflected back to you. That means that reflecting, that which is enabling the reflection is necessarily located just outside your body. And therefore it is spread all over. That's a different issue. You understood what I said? For example, you are thinking something, and let us say you are thinking something and feeling about it. Somebody told you a very negative, unanticipated comment. You recollect that and you are feeling a little bit sad. And how do you know that you are sad? That is enabled by that mirror. And that mirror is outside your body.
Correct.
That is what the people call about super consciousness and all that, giving another word. You are conscious that your body is having a pain. Body has the pain and you are aware of that pain. Okay? That awareness does not have pain.
Yes.
And that is outside the body.
Yes.
It is a little difficult for others to even believe that the real you is outside your body. The so-called, that which is making you aware of all that you are aware of is located outside the body, like the mirror. In fact, in the ancient Indian tradition, there is There's a treatise on meditating on that alone, on that mirror itself. And they use the word mirror itself. I don't know what is the word for that. It is called Alaya Vijnanam. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember textbook kind of reading, or I think my mother told me about this. It is that this knowledge is called Alaya Vijnanam, something like that. Anyway, there is a mirror-like process by which whatsoever that you experience, feel, think, etc., is sensed. You sense that you sense it. So, when these three spokes combine, the wheel starts rolling. And that rolling is enabled by that consciousness, that aspect which is just outside you, located outside you. But it is present inside also. The mirror is in front of you also. But the mirror is not you.
Inside you.
Because that mirror is not a mechanical mirror. Understand that. Okay? The mechanical mirror is located just in front of you. But this reflecting aspect is reflecting, that reflection is enabled by that area which is just outside you, which includes area inside you also. But at the time of death, this part will be pulled back. Now the signals are all present everywhere. Like you go to Los Angeles, you get your mobile number. You go to Washington, you get your mobile number. You go to Tokyo, you get your mobile number. You know, it is a beautiful metaphor. Your mobile number is universally present, just imagine. But when you are here, it connects you here. Similarly, this reflection happens by that surface which is just outside. But that energy field is available within also. But reflection is possible by this only. You are aware that you have pain? Clear, no?
I am understanding it.
That's all. So, in other words, for example, when you sit down and incubate upon a set of sounds and have a corresponding visual and a corresponding attention on the experience of doing all these things, when all these three combine and when that spokes are correctly fit, then suddenly that wheel comes into automatic formation. Alright?
So I can experience that outside mirror. Not to a large extent. I don't know about the inside mirror.
And as far as I know, you may not experience that outside mirror. Even that experience is enabled by that outside mirror only. You will become.
Yeah, I say I experience this because when you remember that one exercise you made us do to keep away from ourselves and see ourselves. Just ourselves out.
Yeah. So that camera outside, yeah.
I can see the outside part which is enabling that pain or any sensation.
Yeah.
But now that internal part I have not experienced. So the external mirror I am experiencing it like that, with that exercise. Now the internal mirror...
Wait. Even that is done by that reflector only. That you are experiencing it, that you are aware that you are experiencing it is also done by that reflector only. By that time, this clarity, that's all. There is nothing beyond it. As far as this human form and its degree of consciousness content is concerned, this is all. then you will proceed further. That this reflector is not a mechanical boundary designed reflector like a mirror. This reflector is the tip of the sky touching your
Okay.
skin.
Okay.
That is enough. You cannot, what are you going to do with the entire sky upon you? The entire sky is upon you, but it has to touch here only, right?
Yes. Yes.
The entire bridge is sustained by that huge bolt on the pillar. So that which touches the bolt is only the 3 inches, not the entire bridge. Entire bridge is there, but that entire bridge is touching the pillar through that bolt. Okay? That 3 inch round washer and the bolt. That's enough. This pillar cannot hold the entire bridge because it is so huge in size. The pillar can never aspire for touching the entire bridge. Yeah. You don't have to. You cannot drink the entire water of the ocean. In your drinking one sip of water, you are actually connecting with the entire water element of the universe. It's only that puny logic of the human being only aspire for getting the entire water. What you are going to do with the entire water? Entire water is entire water in its own definition. You are not that. These are all just like climbing Everest only, Parvathy. You have just climbed the Everest, that's enough. That moment is enough. Continuously in that moment there could be a mistaken desire, which is implied by some of the immature gurus in the world, I suppose. Like Anandamayam, throughout bliss. Throughout bliss meaning you will be sitting at one place. If you interact with somebody, then you are interacting with that person, then the bliss is forgotten, okay? Perpetual bliss and all is absolute bullshit. Nothing is constantly, perpetually in the very universe. Then what about the human being? Okay. So this climbing, you climb Everest and all the time on top of Everest, what is it? Then it is gone.
Yeah.
Why people take a normal life for granted? Because all the time in this life only. Therefore they are constantly seeking for some variation, some kick. But this, once you climb the Everest, that few moments on top of it, your entity becomes engulfed with that beautiful feeling and you come down. So that entity has become that much enriched. That's all. You may not feel anything particular about that. You have a wonderful sadhya or food, and when you eat it you enjoyed. After 1 minute then you forget it. Okay. Even if you try to recollect that, you don't get anything, because that was only for that moment. Time is process. It is ongoing process. Time is not still. So-called time. Process is not still anywhere. It is continuously flowing. The river is continuously flowing. So, this mantra, coming back to this mantra, it is mostly focused on the visual element. because the particular group of human settlement community, they were not that not evolved. They did not find much meaning in keeping the understanding and philosophy and principles of the deity. Okay, the japa part, the mantra part alone. So they would be.
What is the meaning of Gauri? Sorry, I'm cutting.
Gauri.
What is the meaning?
Gauri, that's a Sanskrit term. I don't know the meaning of that word. But whatever be the meaning, you look into the referent of that word.
Yeah, what is the referent? Because
referent is that female figure. Referent is a female figure. Now, why didn't you ask what is the meaning of Parvathy? So you say, okay, the one who is symbolic of the huge mountain. Okay. There you get a meaning because you get an understanding of the mountain. But Parvati is not. But
Parvati is always Gauri.
Pardon me?
You say when it is a mountain, the depiction is always Gauri, because you said these are some tribals of Tamil Nadu who have created this. Now, if you go to the north, even in Kashmir, they say Gauri. They are also the shepherds who will call that Gauri.
No. Tamil Nadu part is Marimala Vasini. Who is Gauri?
Gauri.
Gauri is the standard synonym for Parvati.
So
Gauri also could mean.
Who is the fair Gauri, fair looking lady. That's why they would have used it in Kashmir kind of places. But now when it comes to Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. Gauri, your understanding is fair, is correct, because in Hindi also Gora meaning fair.
Fair. So that fitted well there.
Yeah.
That meaning fitted well in that Kashmir context.
Good analysis, yes. It is called concept-based analysis, concept sense-driven analysis. You could get the concept sense of Gauri and you came to a clear visual of Gauri. The Gora form of Marimala Vasini, yes, correct. And every sound has its attribution in Sanskrit, for example. That all theoretically you can refer to some place. Ka has meaning ka, kha, ga, kha, nga. All the sound has its own attributes and reference. They are all little bit theoretical knowledge, advantages when you run a monastery and you are a guru and there are disciples where fundamental building up of knowledge is required. But for practical sense, from a creative perspective, what I believe and what I understand as the most important, none of these details of this kind is important. Why I say this is supported by the fact that all creations, inventions and discoveries and innovations in this world have been affected by non-systematic learners. Then only it becomes dynamic, If you have very systematic, rigid learning, you become entrapped in that boundaries. You have to know, but at the same time there should be a lot of leeway, there should be a lot of freedom. If the knowing is very rigidly systematized and regimented, then you cannot escape that. You are contained in that, so you are in that so-called box of knowing. Having created a box, it is very difficult to get out of the box. So it is better never be inside the box. Get a feel of what is the content in the box, that's it. So, what exactly Ga meant, what exactly Ra meant, and all that is not that important. But in the ancient Indian monasteries, that Panini Sangraha and all that, it talked about every letter, every word, how Sanskrit is created and things like that. So one of the gurus I met in Rishikesh, he was narrating me how the Sanskrit letters were originated. Of course, everything originated in the form of sound only. Then only it was translated into script, representation, symbolic representation. So he said he was a so-called Shiva tuned guy, according to him. Like completely dark, tall, with a lot of jata and all. That, you can. So he was telling that Shiva in its highly intoxicated dance, one day before Parvathy, I think so, Parvathy wanted Shiva to create a methodology to represent the knowledge, a language format, with a way to preserve it for a longer time. Sound you cannot preserve it, okay? So you can only preserve some representations of sound. That is what script and language. So then Shiva said, okay, wait. And in front of her, Shiva made his what you call mysterious dance, moving his damaru. Damaru, that musical instrument. So in his dance, so he said, so listen to this sound. These are the basic sounds possible for the human being. And then that saint almost made his own way of dance and doing his hand like this. Kakakakanga, chachachachana, tathadatana, tathadatana, papapapama, yatallava sachasakarladana. So the total possible sounds were originated in one shot. Yeah.
Oh, that's why in all language these basic alphabets letters are the same.
Sounds are all the same. So like etching was generated from the Mars and the tortoise shells. So this kakagakanga were identified from the sound of the damaru. Damaru also, like our other instrument, what is that? You press the center strings and beat it. By pressing the string, the sound changes, What is that instrument in Kerala, both sides there are the leather, and then there is the cross strings, and the individual will hold the center strings and beat it, and pressing the center strings, the sound will vary.
Beat it.
Yeah, beat it on one side, and then this will be pressed. The strings will be pressed. Then the tension of the leather will change. And you have seen damaru, right?
Yeah, idakka you're telling.
Yeah, exactly, idakka. That is the Kerala version of damaru. Damaru is smaller, much more stronger and smaller in size. And
handheld, and this is a little bigger version.
Yeah. Damaru is can be contained in just one hand.
Yes.
And you change, and it was you don't have to beat it. There's a string and there's a ball attached to the string, and when you do this, that ball strikes on the leather, and you vary the sound by pressing the center strings, which is much more tough actually.
Yeah. When I'm thinking of making sounds out of it, specific sounds out of the damaru, it is very difficult.
Yeah. No, any sound variation. Sound variation is possible. You can also press. I have tried that. Okay. But even to get the strings touching the center, that itself will take some time. Yeah. And then you control that touching of the ball on the leather, plus this pressing of the strings, by which the tension on the leather is varied, by which the pitch and the sound is varied. So he said kakagakanga in that speed. Not ka, that's what he demonstrated. Not ka, no. Kakagakanga, chachijachanya, tatadatana, tathadatana, like that. So discussion is over.
Pardon?
Discussion is over.
Um,
Today's discussion on this topic is over. Clear, right? Today's
yes,
discussion
very
on this
clear,
topic.
very clear.
Okay. All right then.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.